Following the review of consumer files and documents, the investigator's task will be to confirm the accuracy of the commensurate wage rate for one or more jobs. This involves checking the accuracy of the existing performance standards for those jobs by conducting work measurements in the production area. And it begins with determining how long it takes a standard setter, the average experienced worker who does not have a disability for the job, to perform it. This is normally done by conducting a time study. The hourly consumer's file should contain time study data measuring actual productivity. At a minimum, the file should be updated every 6 months. The hourly standard setting time study should be conducted under conditions identical to those of the study in the consumer's file. The standard setter, typically a CRP staff member, should be given time to learn and perform the work comfortably, without hesitation. Meanwhile, the investigator should make sure the task analysis reflects precisely the actual performance of the job. This is to minimize, if not eliminate, any deviations in motions or actions that might influence and thus alter the time study outcome.
Time study should always be done in identical settings so that it doesn't vary from the initial standard. If the time study setting changes, then it could put the CRP in financial jeopardy. It could result in overpayment or underpayment to the consumer.
The task analysis should provide clear indication of when the job begins and ends. A general rule of thumb is that the time study should run as long as it takes to complete all the elements of the task, or one full cycle. As part of the observation, the investigator should make sure the worker maintains a pace that could be sustained over an entire shift. At the end of the time study, the investigator will compare the results of the confirming study to the existing standard. A range up to 10% above or below the CRP standard is acceptable in confirming its reliability. From here, the investigator may then choose to verify other time studies on a sample basis. By regulation, hourly wage consumers must be time studied at least every 6 months, as well as within 30 days following the start of a new job. But there are other reasons for reviewing the consumers and jobs.
If the equipment or materials change on the time study, it could change the standard and the pay of the consumer.
Understanding the methods used to determine an hourly commensurate wage is vital to the investigator's work. The goal is assuring that consumers are fairly paid for the work they do. That's also a goal of CRPs. This is achieved with time study data and records that are accurate, thorough, and consistent. But it's also aided by an open dialogue between the investigator and CRP supervisor.
The purpose of an investigation is to determine compliance, and sometimes it's found that the employer was in fact not in compliance. If there were errors in the payment of wages, the wage hour investigator will work with the employer to make the employee whole, to help restore the back wages, but also to make sure that they understand and maintain compliance so that the errors don't happen in the future.